Hey, all you Splinterheads, welcome back. Bronze Dragon once again saying, hey, thanks for dropping by. As always, I appreciate the time you spend with me. Tonight we're going to cover a big Splinterlands topic that's been a long time in the making. But before we dive in, please leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And a little bit of a tidbit of information here. This weekend, Saturday, at 11:30 Eastern Time, we hold our Saturday morning stand-up live stream here on YouTube. It will be 1 hour of talking Splinterlands related topics. This week is episode 101. Last week, which was episode 100, I started a contest. This week we are going to give away 100 Chaos Legion packs to the winner. What you need to do is get your name in the contest before midnight this Saturday, which, looking at the calendar, is the 15th of March. Before the beginning of the 15th of March, you need to have done what I asked you to do in last episode. So refer back to my live streams, check out the last live stream, and do what I ask and get your name in the hat for 100 Chaos Legion packs. So far, there's not a whole lot of entries, so you stand a good chance. Okay, let's dive right in. I didn't do a video last night, and this information was dropped rather late for me. It was dropped at about 8:30, something like that. By that point, I was already into my nightly routine and gaming, and it's not too long after that where I go to bed. So I like to get my videos done a little bit earlier so I can edit them and get them on out. So let's go ahead and jump in. This is land 1.75 for all you land heads in Splinterlands. You know what I'm talking about. We've been waiting for it for quite a while. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, this is the land part of the Splinterlands game, and I'm not going to dive into details, but you can check out my previous videos on the topic, or we can talk about in the future. Just leave me some comments what you want to hear about if you want to hear about some further topics about land. But we're going into a new version. We finally have a date, and it is going to go live on next Tuesday, which is the 18th of March, 2025. And we have the details about what is changing. Now, this is not a really long article, but I want to take it and break it down into chunks and dissect and kind of get an idea of exactly how this is going to affect us live people who own land. So you can start doing numbers in your head and things. You may need to change things. I think that most of us will have to change some things as this goes live, or immediately before in preparation. So that's why I wanted to get this video out. So you think about it, do your numbers, and you might need to do some changes before land 1.75 goes live. After we go through this article, I'm going to talk a little bit about what I plan on doing or I'm thinking about doing. So let's go ahead and dive right in. So first of all, they say land 1.75 is coming. The future of land awaits. It's going live on March 18th, which is a standard patch day, which we were talking about. Okay, here we get into some details. New resources: build, harvest, and thrive. Wood, stone, and iron. If you've been playing the land game up to now, all you could do really is harvest grain, research, and SPS. Now they're adding wood, stone, and iron to the mix, and all the land that you would harvest wood, stone, and iron on where you were previously growing grain or harvesting, mining SPS off of, or doing research off of, you can no longer do that. Okay, so there's going to be a big change. Now, next thing, work sites are now terrain dependent, which I just mentioned, meaning careful planning will be crucial. Check out the white paper for details. Now, we haven't looked at the land white paper for a while. Right off the bat, I'll leave a link to this article in the notes for this episode, so you can check below if you want. And then if you need to go into the white paper to see what your land is going to be able to harvest, you can do that. Grain work sites are incompatible terrain. Will auto convert grain work sites on incompatible terrain will auto convert. That's what we were just talking about, to wood, stone, or iron. So these lands that would normally be where you would normally harvest wood, stone, or iron on are going to auto convert. So this is a good thing. This is a big question I had in the back of my brain for the longest time. What's going to happen to all these grain farms or whatever that we have been using for a long time on these plots of land? They're going to auto convert into exactly what you need. So this is a good thing. That's not going to be like an additional cost or anything, which I was hoping there wouldn't be a cost involved in converting over, since we already paid at one time, right? Okay, so next up, the next section says new LPs, liquidity pools, and resource swaps. A true player-driven economy. DEC liquidity pools are launching for wood, stone, and iron, giving players more ways to trade and invest in resources. Direct resource swaps between different materials will allow for seamless in-game economy balancing. Liquidity pool providers will earn fees, turning liquidity management into another avenue for smart earnings. Okay, so if you're not familiar with liquidity pools, basically don't get scared off. This is just a way for people to swap resources around. And to do that, there needs to be liquid portions of what's being swapped around. You know, we need a big bunch of grain, wood, or iron and stone. And when people want to say, I've got some grain I'm growing and I want to swap it for some wood, that grain and that wood has to be available to swap around. Okay, now people, this is pointing out that this is something that went into effect a while ago, where you could actually put grain into the liquidity pool and earn off of that. Okay, and as far as I know, you haven't been able to tell how much you've been earning off that up to this point, and that's going to change with the new UI changes that he's going to put into effect when this patch goes live. But they're pointing out here that there's another way that you can get into this economy is by, say you're growing wood. You can put a certain portion of your wood into the liquidity pool and earn off of that as people buy and sell and trade, and use your wood that's in the liquidity pool to swap around for things. So that's just another way you can earn off of this. Next up, the new liquidity pool, which we were talking about, fee toggle, is now live. Managing your liquidity rewards just got easier, because before you couldn't really, as far as I know, couldn't really tell what you were earning. We've added a new toggle switch, allowing you to seamlessly switch between total fees for the entire pool, fees you've earned individually as a liquidity pool provider. Now you can track your earnings with precision and make smarter liquidity decisions at a glance. And for some reason, this art was posted too small. So basically they've made the UI, they've given a readout and a tool to let you know exactly what you're making on your liquidity pool. So it's entirely possible where you could grow stuff on your land. Instead of going in and producing things in the future, you can just start putting in a liquidity pool and start earning off of that. And so when people are swapping between them, then you can earn off of it, and you can tell exactly what you're making, either yourself personally or looking at the market as a whole. So they're giving us more options and showing us what's going on. Okay. Next up, gameplay UI enhancements, smarter and smoother land management, new map filters make it easier than ever to see what resources your land supports at a glance. Land 1.75 introduces wood, stone, and iron as crucial resources for land productivity, but unlike grain, these resources will be significantly more scarce. So for every one grain, you're only going to get a portion of these other as far as what the land actually produces. So he goes on to put the actual numbers here, which you can use to go ahead and figure out, because it's going to be different between depending upon how many production points you have on each piece of land. So production rates per production per point per hour. Grain is at 0.02, which is unchanged. Wood is at 0.005. Stone is at 0.002, and iron is at 0.0005. Okay, so that tells me that stone is it's all going to be a lot more rare than grain. So the cost on these is going to be a lot higher than grain. Okay, Since these production rates are much lower than grain, wood, and stone, and iron will be far more limited in supply, just exactly what I just said. But production is just the beginning. Wood, stone, and iron will also be required to generate SPS and research. Okay, this is the next item I wanted to bring up, because now no longer are you going to be able to do research on lands and just pay grain for it, or no longer are you going to be able to mine SPS on lands and just pay the grain for it. Now there's going to be an additional cost. In other words, mining SPS and doing research just got a lot more expensive. We'll talk about this a little bit more after we get done with the article, and what my thoughts are on that. Every one base production point, these are the same numbers as up here, okay? To put this into perspective, if you have 5,000 production point research plot, you'll need an equal amount of wood, stone, and iron production to match it. So, and I think whenever you go to, and what we're talking about is when you actually do your harvest. And I saw some screenshots some people were sharing in Discord, and it will actually tell you when you go into harvest how much of each you're going to need. Okay, and the other big news item this week that everybody's been talking about, in case you didn't know, Totem fragments, which up to this point you've been able to get on any claim, on any harvest, although it's a very small percentage chance, any harvest you could get a chance of getting Totem fragment. Now you can only get a Totem fragment on research huts, castles, or keeps. Obviously, this is great for castles and keeps. They've put a lot of money into it or gotten extremely lucky to get those. But the research huts, I guess they needed to put something in to play that would actually keep people doing research. And I'll say a little bit more about that here in a few minutes. But yeah, it speaks for itself. They included some various artwork, some newer artwork here. New UI icons for type, geography, and rarity. So depending upon the rarity and depending upon what type of land, you got a little bit different artwork now. Improve the overall experience. Shout out to Nate and the art team, always doing a stand-up job. Managing your land has never been this intuitive and immersive. Okay, I'll take your word on that. Okay, next up, important, prepare now or get left behind. That's why I wanted to put this out and talk about it a little bit, so that if you thought about it and wanted to make some changes before the patch went live, you could have a few days to do that. Okay. Okay, number one, no stockpile of new resources will exist at launch. If your land is producing research or SPS, you'll need wood, stone, and iron for your first harvest. Pro tip, and I was about to say this, claim your SPS and grain before the update to avoid delays and maximize your production from day one. Okay, so if you're a landholder, you're going to want to make sure that you do your claim before the patch hits next Tuesday. Okay, and once again, that is the 18th, March 18th. You're going to want to claim before that patch. Okay, I took a second and went over to the tech announcements over on Discord, and it looks like they usually take the server down for patching at 11:30 Eastern time. So I wouldn't get really close to that, because you know how things change, but as close as possible with a margin of error. Like I'll have to do it in the morning before I leave for work, right? So, but do your claim, because the next claim you have, you'll have to pay all these other resources. And that goes, let's see what else we've got going on here. Let's cover this one last, let's see here. Land 1.75 is more than an update. It's a turning point in the Splinterlands land ecosystem. Whether you're a land baron, a strategist, or an economy-savvy player, this update offers new ways to grow, trade, and profit, but this is just the beginning. We have big plans to expand the utility of land resources into even more areas of the game in the near future. The economic depth of Pretoria is only going to grow, and those who prepare now will be positioned for long-term success. Okay, so that's that. Okay, to wrap this discussion up, a few thoughts from me. Okay, first of all, when Land 1.75 goes live next week, there will be, like he said, there will be no stockpile of these new resources. So when these resources start to be produced and put on the market, they're going to be a lot more expensive. And to me, especially with the price of SPS currently, I don't necessarily know if it's going to be worth it to pay all the extra resources to keep mining SPS, just from my personal point of view. Now, as far as research goes, that's the same kind of idea. Now, does it mean that I'm going to completely quit doing this? No. But I think, as far as I know right now, and I may change my mind going closer, especially if somebody in Discord or something presents a valid argument that would prohibit me from doing this. But I think I might turn off my SPS mines and also turn off my research huts. Now, not change them over to grain at this point in time, but maybe let everything get up and running for a couple weeks and let them just lay dormant, and then kick them back into action whenever we have a stockpile of wood and iron and stone into the economy. That's my initial thoughts on this. Now, there's another side to this that you could argue, or I'll argue, just to kind of give an equal playing field here. The equal playing field here is that if you stay, and this is just for SPS, I can't say that this works for research, but for SPS, you've got a pool there, and there's going to be a certain amount of people that decide to, like me, either turn off their SPS mines or maybe completely change their SPS mines over to grain harvesting or whatever else, away from SPS due to the cost of SPS currently. And that means that if you stayed mining SPS, your percentage of the SPS you're mining would get bigger. It's the same argument for playing in modern, in regular card battles, right? The fewer people playing, each win equals more. So the fewer people mining SPS out of this pool, the bigger portion you're going to get. So you get the idea. So that's the other opposite. So that's the argument to say, well, maybe it might be worth it to just pay whatever the cost is of these new materials to keep mining SPS. I don't know. Like I said, I don't think that applies to research, which thus far, the research huts, we have seen that one advantage is every time you collect research, you still have the option, the possibility of getting a totem shard. But frankly, since this has been live, I've gotten, I don't know, I don't even know how long. Let me look. Okay, I came over here. I'm keeping a spreadsheet of what I've harvested. The first time I did a harvest in game was November 29th, 2023. So it's been that long, and I've gotten maybe half a dozen totem shards, right? Nothing over rare in rarity, So, and only like 2 rares. The rest have been common. So I don't think I'm going to miss those totem shards. There's been a lot of talk on the various methods of communication, Discord and Reddit and stuff like that, and everything everybody talks on about the amount of liquid totems and totem shards to make the totems has gone way down. So they're going to be harder to find. They're going to be a lot more expensive if you want them, if you haven't got them for your land. So just something else to think about. So, I mean, the flip side argument is maybe you go ahead and keep your research hut going for the hope of getting a totem fragments to sell because the price of the totem fragments are going up. Just a flip side argument. So, hey, let me know in the comments if you're a land player in Splinterlands, what you're going to do to prepare for 1.75 going live. And once again, stop by on Saturday at 11:30 to talk Splinterlands and get your entries in for the 100 Chaos Legion pack giveaway. This has been Bronze Dragon. I hope everyone on your side is happy and healthy. And hey, I'll see you in Splinterlands.